Hey everybody, it's Missy. Today we're going to be talking about glass cutting. We are starting a unit on stained glass in my sculpture class. So this is just a very quick tutorial on the tools that are needed in order to get the glass cut apart. So there are several things that you're going to need. The main things probably being these guys right here. They're the stars of the show. You have this little guy who is the most simple of the lot. That is the actual glass cutter. We have this, which is a pair of running pliers. I'll show you what they do in a little bit. And this right here, which is Grozer pliers. Sometimes they're called like breakers, but Grozer pliers is more appropriate. Safety equipment that you're gonna need are some kind of eye protection. If you wear regular eyeglasses, that's enough. But if you don't, you want one of these. I enjoy wearing a mask for this because there are tiny shards of glass that go everywhere, regardless of whether or not you think you can see them. So you do sometimes want to wear something around your face. Masks aren't required until you use a grinder, but that's going to be a different video. All right. Other materials that you're going to need are going to be a metal ruler. This will be extremely helpful for any time you're cutting a straight line, a Sharpie, a broom, and obviously a piece of glass. This one just happens to be a piece of scrap glass that I had from a friend of mine who was getting rid of hers whenever she was moving state. So that's what I'm gonna practice on today. All right, so here's what's gonna happen. First, I would make sure that I have, apron. Need one of those. That just protects your clothes from any shards of glass. If you also don't care for aprons, a pair of pants and a shirt that you don't care about work very well, and also closed-toed shoes. Shards of glass will get on the floor at some point, and you do not want them getting into a sandal and under your toe and getting blood everywhere. That would stink. Actually, most shards of glass that you get in this are going to be very, very small, and they're going to be more itchy than bloody, but that's still very annoying. So there you go. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First off, you're going to use the Sharpie to trace out whatever lines you're going to be cutting. So for example, if I just want to cut off a little chunk of glass over here, I'm going to use my Sharpie to draw that line on. Now I'm going to stick this on so I can pull it up later. All right, the glass cutter right here, you'll see it has a small metal wheel on it. This metal wheel is not sharp. It is not meant to be a cutter, so to speak, as we would imagine a little knife, an X-Acto knife, or a pair of scissors. What this will do is it will score the surface. That is, it's going to make a little dented line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my ruler back up. But see, the edge of this that's going to butt up against my ruler is not going to let my wheel sit right on the edge of my ruler. So you can see I've offset this by just the smallest amount. Now, don't do what one of my kids did and flip it over this way. This is not going to cut very good. So your finger goes on this end and it's like you're pressing down like so, like you're cutting with a knife. It is not this. It is not this. This is what you want. Okay. So I like to stand up so that I can put more pressure down. And you're going to hear this really awful sound. Another thing to remember is that you can't cut in pieces. You're going to cut all the way across the glass every single time. There is no stopping or starting in the middle. So I'm gonna come right here. I'm gonna press down. I can roll off the edge, but I don't wanna bump up. So I'm gonna start right here as close to the edge as I can get. And again, it's gonna be an awful sound. Like so. Now, if you've done it correctly, you can feel a little dent where that line is. You can feel it with your hands. So mine, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I can definitely feel it with my fingernail, and I can feel it with my finger. That means I should have good contact. This is a pretty thick piece of glass, so I might go over it one more time, hopefully in the same spot, just to make sure. Ugh, that sounds awful. Just to make sure that it has a good scoring line. So again, it is not technically cut yet. This, while we call it a glass cutter, doesn't cut. What it does is score that line. The next tool is this one. This is where you're actually gonna start getting glass, which is why I put this mask on. So the running pliers have a little line right down their middle. It's a little hard to see, but if you're looking carefully, you can see it. Right there. Line that up with, come on, open up higher. Line that up with the line that you cut. What this is it's bent a little bit like so that whenever you put the two pieces together, it exerts pressure on both sides and breaks the piece of glass. Right along the line that you scored. Now, not every break is perfect, and that's what the Grozer pliers are for. Whenever you have an imperfect break, like students that do this the wrong way around will have, I'm making fun of you, Morgan. Yes, I'm calling you out. So, when you have a break that is imperfect, that's whenever these come into play. If you have a large piece that didn't break properly, I can't demonstrate it because I didn't do it. What you can do is you can grasp with the flat side up to help break off bigger chunks along the score line. If it's just a small change, however, say for example that this side had a little chunk that just wigged out for some reason, I can use the round side to grind off little corners or little pieces. So I can come in and I can very literally start nipping away the corner of my glass. And that's using the round side. It's kind of a grip and twist motion to pinch and then pull down. Mind you, you can see there's now glass shards. So I do this process to get my glass as close to possible as I possibly can, feasibly, to the shape that I need. When cutting glass, you do generally have a pattern. It's generally traced out onto your little glass pieces, and you need to get as close as possible. But you do all of the very fine refinements with a tool called a grinder. As I said, we have a separate video for that, so don't worry about it right now. Now it is time to clean up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all my tools away, put anything else that needs to go away. This is a scrap glass, so it's gonna go back where my glass goes. This would be the piece that I'm keeping for my artwork, so that's gonna go wherever I need to store items for my artwork. This will go where the rulers go, all that good stuff. And now we need our broom. So first off, give myself a little shake. Sweep off my table. If you have a smaller brush that will work for this, by all means do so. I don't have any. But now it's on the ground. Now mind you, you were prepared for glass, so you wore the appropriate shoes. The next person might not. So you don't just brush off the table, you also need to brush the floor. The last step of cutting glass is always sweeping the floor. Nearby is best, but around your whole table is ideal. Now, all of my kids earlier today did their sweeping, so there's not going to be much glass in this little dust pile here, but there's going to be some. I also have a broom pan that I can do. Do not use your hand. That is how you get bloody fingers, and we don't want those. All right, so that is a basic course on how to cut glass using a glass cutter. There's fancier tools that you can find elsewhere, but this is what we've got, and it's pretty much the basics that you need. So go out and happy cutting.